those others who have come back to our meeting just to see some of the things that take place. I have to say this before we get ready to call to order. One day on campus, on the EKU campus, I ran into a young man, a student, and he said, "Oh, I saw you at that meeting." And I said, "What meeting?" He said, "You know that meeting they have downtown." I said, "Oh, you mean the meeting of the commission?" I said, "Young man, you need to get a life." Okay. So those of you who came to a math class tonight and didn't have to, good to have you here, certainly. Happy to have for the invocation tonight one of our former pastors of our area. Served also the city of Richmond as a chaplain for our police department, served as a major in that department, in fact, retired Kentucky State Trooper. And Reverend Mitch Brown is going to come and lead us in our invocation. As he comes, I've asked him also to mention something else as he serves as the president of the local branch NAACP. This coming weekend will be a big Juneteenth weekend. Several days will be used by several communities in the nation and so on. There's a holiday involved and so on. And I've asked him if he would just give us a word about one particular activity that will be coming up here for this weekend. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you, sir. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege that we can come before you right now, Lord, and we thank you for your presence that is with us, your presence that never leaves us. And Father, we just pray your favor upon these elected officials, that they would stand strong in the honor in which they have been entrusted by the members of this community. And Father, we pray for our first responders, our healthcare workers, all those who are put in harm's way in any way possible. We just pray your favor and you would be with them and their loved ones. And Father, we just pray your blessings over this city, Lord, that you said, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And we thank you, Lord, that we believe and we know that you are the only true God. And we just thank you for your presence with us. And it is a privilege to be able to be one of yours. So we are going forward to be with each and every one of these commissioners, the mayor, and all of the support staff. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
The Juneteenth weekend will be celebrated June 15th by the local branch in NAACP. And this is our second annual Freedom 5K. And it's a 5K, which is about a 3-mile run, but also you can walk, stroll. Some even had their pets. And Juneteenth really is June 19th, and it comes from two words, Juneteenth. That's June 19th. And the holiday came about 2 months after the Civil War, when Major Gordon Granger and some Union troops had went into Galveston, Texas, and they found out that the slaves had not been emancipated, and they had never heard about the Emancipation Proclamation by President Abraham Lincoln in 1863. So he issued a General Order 3 proclaiming their freedom. So that's how we have the Juneteenth holiday. And certainly we'd encourage you to come out, and you can register on site. The gates open at 6:45 a.m. and registration will begin at 7. And just come out and enjoy and walk, stroll, and enjoy everyone that will be there. We would love to have you.
Did you see where?
Whitehall State Shrine.
Thank you,
Well, it's no longer called State Shrine anymore, but Whitehall Shrine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, and I make a little follow-up to that. I don't want to interrupt things, but a couple of weeks ago, I was on a tour of Lexington Cemetery, and the Union officer that brought that to the blacks is buried in the Richmond Cemetery. I mean, the Lexington Cemetery. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not, sir. Thank you, Mr. Hay, yeah.
That's the person. Yes.
Buried in Lexington Cemetery.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for that information.
Very interesting.
As we prepare for the Pledge of Allegiance, let me mention for those in the audience also, there are copies of the agenda behind the attorney there, if you'd like one of those. And as he prepares to come, honored to have a local U.S. Armed Forces veteran to lead the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Donald Roberts, a native of Madison County and a veteran of the United States Army, who served in the Korean War. Mr. Roberts was stationed in Germany in the M47 Tank Division with the rank of Staff Sergeant. After leaving Germany, he served in the Armed Reserves for 6 years. Mr. Roberts now resides in Richmond as part of the St. Andrews retirement community. As I've told him already, thank you, Donald, for your service and for being willing tonight to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
It's not a sin to get old, Mayor. It's just awful uncomfortable.
I'll remember that for certain, my friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cole?
Here.
Commissioner Goble?
Here.
Commissioner Newby?
Here.
Commissioner Brewer?
Here.
Mayor Bly.
Here, thank you. I'm going to ask Carrie Hensler to come forward, please, our Small Business and Economic Development Coordinator, and present for us our business for tonight.
Good afternoon. Again, I'm Carrie Lee Hensley, your Small Business and Economic Development Coordinator, and I'm excited to introduce a new brick and mortar we have in Richmond. It's called Focus on Fascia, and we have the owner here. Her name's Susan Violet. She's going to come up. She's going to tell us what it is and why we need it.
Thank you, Carrie. My name is Susan Violet, and Focus on Fascia was actually established in January of '23 as a mobile massage business that I had. And then sometime last year, I got the harebrained idea to be more holistic and expand even more into the salt room that you can see on the screen. Salt therapy is good for skin and for the respiratory system. It is anti-inflammatory, it is anti-pathogenic, so if you've got the Kentucky crud like I currently have, you might want to spend some time in there. The big room is a 45-minute session, and it is nice and relaxing, light, slow. You can also do yoga in it, like I'm going to do in a moment. The salt tent down below is a 10-minute salt session. We also have infrared sauna, which is good for anti-inflammatory, also decrease pain. Decrease pain, just detox in general. And the massage modality is a little different than usual. You're on the massage table wearing clothing, and I'll work above and behind the body to help release fascia, which is the connective tissue that can get restricted in just daily life and decrease pain. My location is 408 Jason Drive, Suite 102. I'm the only non-Chenault person in the business. They embraced me, and I'm super excited to bring this to Richmond. Let's see, my little quirky thing is that people think fascia is facial, so they think it's skin products, but it's actually this connective tissue, that's within the body.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Carrie's behind you there. I think she'll do a picture of all of us, right? Yeah.
This takes a nice picture, you guys. Thank you.
Are we right?
Patient, be patient. Work with me.
The other cameras.
I am but making sure we are documented well. Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In our packet, we have the minutes from two meetings, a special call workshop meeting, May 23, and the special call meeting, May 28, at 5 o'clock. If you've had a chance to look at those and meet your approval, would maybe have a motion, please, to bring to the floor that we might approve them.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Is there any question, comment, or discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Blind.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-75, order of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, electing to participate in a joint regional economic development PDI grant application. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas the city, having entered into a non-binding letter of intent to participate in a joint PDI grant application, and whereas the city has now determined to formally join the application, binding the city financially and allocating monies to the project, and now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the City of Richmond formally announces to join in the joint regional PDI grant application. Funding will be allocated in the fiscal year 2025 budget ordinance from non-departmental grants and outside agencies in the amount of $500,000, which is required matching grant. Any and all expenses exceeding this amount must first be approved by the Board of Commissioners. The mayor is hereby authorized to sign documentation as necessary for this transaction. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. That's order 24-75. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Cole
Second.
and Commissioner Goble. Is there any discussion?
I do have a
Commissioner
couple
Brewer?
of questions, Mayor, if I could.
Yes, sir, certainly.
And one in statement to, I guess, begin this. Some years back and Jim and I both were on the commission at the time when they kept coming from the depot and asking that we do something, and you were here, Mayor, when we create jobs for the people that were leaving the depot, work there, and we needed to keep them here in Madison County. So we got together as in commission meetings and decided that we would foster jobs and do something with their industrial park to help create the kind of financial stability that they were used to working at the depot. And I was never, I guess I didn't see the value of sending that money that we would use there to 2 counties over and providing an industrial park in Georgetown. Now, I assume that the money out of this is coming from the tax dollars that we collect. So everybody here that lives in the city of Richmond also pays county taxes. So if we're doing that, isn't that money that is already spent out of tax dollars that is collected by the county from residents here in Richmond? So why should we spend tax dollars that we have collected here for our city or public safety or quality of life when they've already collected money in the county from our, our property tax bills? So, I mean, it hasn't sat well with me because I really believe that we need to keep our money at home. And I have a lot of things to say about it, but I talked to some of the people that are in Georgetown, and they're not interested in they're doing a fight battle over there with the property that's there at Great Crossings, and I don't think we should interfere with that until they get that settled. I mean, they don't want this project there. So, and you can look online every day and they got something else coming new, that they do not want that property to go to an industrial park. And I don't know why we would interfere with that until they fix that themselves,
All right,
and then we move in.
all right. Thank you, Commissioner Brewer. Who else?
I have some comments
Commissioner
I
Cole,
would like
yes.
to share.
Yeah.
And this is new, so I want to preface it by saying that this is a new concept for me and maybe even the city of Richmond in terms of looking at a regional economic development project that we can collaborate on. So it's taken me some time to wrap my brain around the fact, and I've talked to a lot of people, gathered a lot of data to make sure that we're making the right decision. But basically, the way I think of it, it's fairly simple. This is an opportunity for the city of Richmond to get in on the front end of an investment, to diversify our portfolio, if you will. If we were individuals as opposed to a city, we would be buying stock in something that we think has a good future. There are currently funds available from the state of Kentucky that require you to be in a collaborative partnership agreement in order to apply for that funding. And this is one of those examples. So I never want to do anything to take away from our own industrial park. I love that. I participate in those meetings. I want us to be as aggressive as the city of Richmond can possibly be in securing industry for our industrial park. But as a step two, if there's money that's out there from the state of Kentucky, and there are other entities, other counties and cities that are inviting us to be part of a new regional economic development plan, I want us to be at the table. I talked about at the last meeting, I want us to have a cap on that. Any kind of partnership that you enter into should be mutually beneficial, and it should be very clear in terms of what we are willing to invest in that project. Now, if things go well and the project gets funded by the state of Kentucky and we are able to pull in some matching funds, we may want to come back to the table in the future and be a bigger investor. But for right now, we're very clear that we're putting a cap on what we're investing, which is $500,000, and it is going to enable us to be part of a bigger regional effort. I think it's our responsibility to always, always look out for the city of Richmond in every decision that we make. I probably take that as serious as anybody ever has. I probably may even take it too serious sometimes. But at the same time, we have to look at the region and we have to be open-minded and realize that the city of Richmond doesn't exist in a silo. I'm not sure if it ever did, but I can assure you that now in the environment that we're in, it's a regional concept and we're part of a bigger region. If that bigger region succeeds, the city of Richmond succeeds. So I guess my final comment is just that we have researched this, we have talked to the other players that are going to be part of this investment. If it gets funded from the state of Kentucky, it's a dollar for dollar matching funds, which is unheard of in the grant world. That is pretty much as good as you can get when you invest $1 and get $1 matched. So if it's funded by the state, we'll have an opportunity, in essence, to dollar for dollar match every bit of money that is put in. If it doesn't get funded from the state, it's pretty much a moot issue, and we'll try again in the future. But I personally want the city of Richmond to be at the table for this regional initiative as we look at future industries and future funding for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole. Anyone else?
I would agree.
Commissioner Goble?
We had a really great meeting with all the mayors and judges from the area yesterday. Mayor Blythe was there as well. And we got to hear from, all the players. And there's a very nice little booklet if anybody wants to see it. And it's got a lot of information. We've got several of them that we brought from that event. And I just think it's a win-win because it's investing in our future. And one thing that I know as a grandmother is everything I do may not be seen by me, but it will be seen for my future and the future generations. And so I think it's important because I think that we need to invest in the region.
Thank you, Commissioner Goble.
Yeah, I have always put Richmond first. I will work with anybody out there, but I feel like what our goal is if we had $500,000 to give to Georgetown, we should give it to our industrial people out there, our industrial board, to work together and get maybe some other property online in our own industrial park. If it was next door, would be different, and if these people wanted to I mean, wanted it there, it would be easy for me to say, well, sure, we'll come on board with you, but they're fighting for it. They don't want it. And if the future is there, then we failed here, because we set on the golden egg on I-75 for industrial park. And that's where the money, and that's where our future lies. That's where, and as Mindy just said, you know, our grandkids, our kids, whatever, that is for them. I can't see creating jobs in Georgetown would help us here in Richmond. Although there's matching funds out there, I've heard the figure of 7.5% given back to each community when they do the investment in 15 years when something happens. There is nothing there. The Wells family that has that property there is asking for $10 million to purchase that property. And who pays that? And then who builds who is responsible for utilities, the mitigation, all of these things? If the state doesn't come through, then who has to pay for that? Then I'm pretty clear on,
Thanks,
I don't
Commissioner
support.
Brewer.
I just have two final comments,
Yes, go
Mayor, if I may. First of all, it's very important that we're clear that we are not giving Georgetown $500,000. I don't even think that would be legal, but even if it is legal, we are not giving Georgetown $500,000. What we are doing is contributing $500,000 towards a regional economic development initiative where we will be a partner based upon the level and the investment that we make on the front end. Again, it's almost like buying stock. If we put in $500,000 into the big pie, we will get that piece of percentage of ownership. Second of all, nothing that we're doing with the regional economic development industrial initiative prohibits us from always putting Richmond first with our own industrial park. And that will always be a priority for ours. We have excellent industrial park. We're pumping additional resources into that to make it even more ready for industry. So having one doesn't preclude the other. Thank you.
Thank
Last
you.
thing, I'm gonna say one last thing,
Go right ahead.
because if you're not giving money to Georgetown, or you're giving it to, then you're giving it to a collection of funds that a park, industrial park is gonna be built in Georgetown, Scott County. I don't even know who carries that money. What bank does it go into? Who's responsible for that money? Madison County? Scott County? Does anybody know that? I mean, you're talking $500,000 of taxpayer-funded money here going into an account, and we don't even know which account it goes into. But anyway.
Appreciate your points. Anybody else?
I just want to say that when the state of Kentucky issues the grant proposal, it will include the details in there in terms of the fiscal agent and the responsibilities of each partner. So while some of that may seem like it's a little bit vague right now, once those grant proposals are available, all of that will be very, very clear and defined. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
What happens if they don't give the full amount that you're asking for in this grant money, and then who's responsible? If it was $22 million and they gave $12 million, who's responsible for the next $10 million?
Okay. All right. Let me say a couple of things here. First, very strange thing. I agree with all of you, if you can believe that. And here's why, because all of your points, first of all, are well taken. And some of these, Commissioner Brewer especially, a couple of points that you made, there actually is a meeting in the morning, Mr. City Manager. I'm going to head to Lexington in the morning for the latest of this regional proposal meetings. So Scott and Clark, Clark and Fayette and Berea and the Madison County proper and will all be there, Georgetown. So some of this would be addressed in the morning. Now, that doesn't do us any good tonight, except for this. I've taken a step back. You know, I'm the one who's danced around this matter for the past many months, in fact. Mr. City Manager sees me coming down the hall, he locks his door because he didn't want to hear. No, that's not true. We discuss it, we talk about it. But here, these points, and I'm through, and then we'll proceed to vote on the order. First, I do appreciate that the city manager did what he did in the last meeting in putting this before us in this way. The expenditure of $500,000, we chose not to take it from the line in the budget that was the Richmond Industrial Development Corporation. Want them to continue to do what they're doing. David, thank you for the tremendous job that you and that board are doing. But it doesn't mean we could not, and this is what the city manager wanted, that we could not do something. And this sort of pushed us to the point of doing something. We did find, Sharon, we did find the $500,000 on another line. So this is something we can do. Something else that Commissioner Cole mentioned, and that's one of the things that's been before us, and that is if this effort is funded by the state. And we don't know that yet. Is that right, Mr. Simmons?
That's correct.
So it's if, and what we're doing is positioning, this regional group is positioning so that if the state does come through, then we would have the obligation that you really, and all of us are concerned about, then it would be time to consider. And even if we did, I wouldn't want to, do the hokey pokey, stick one foot in, one foot out. But at the same time, we're not bound forever to stay in this thing if we got into it and decided we did not. So these are the things that are influencing my final decision. We're already invested, as the three of us were there yesterday, we're already invested in Commerce Lexington. How much did we spend, Mr. City Manager? You recall?
36,000?
Yeah, about 37,000.
37,000. So we're already invested in the Commerce Lexington nine-county?
Yeah, that's correct.
Nine-county effort. It's a regional thing, but it's called right now, for branding purposes, Commerce Lexington, which already exists. So we're already invested in that. I've spoken with a couple of mayors, certainly my partner here in Madison County, with Berea, and also Mayor Gorton in Lexington, who said yesterday, and she framed it, that this would be for all of us, those, and they had to be talking about me, but for anybody who's still not decided, I kind of looked around the room. I think that was me, Mindy.
I think it was.
Pretty good chance.
But the point was, she said, for us even, because Fayette County was very reluctant at first, but she said, for us, this is a leap of faith, and here's why, and I'm through with this point. She said, don't forget, and then when I spoke also with Bruce Fraley, Berea, after that meeting was over, he said, don't forget, for example, when Toyota came to Georgetown, a great deal of the industry in Madison County is a spinoff
Yes.
from what happened there. Now, with that in mind and what our commitment at this point means, I'm more comfortable to give it a try, Mike, okay, to give it a try. Stay where you are, but to give it a try and monitoring very carefully. And as I said, tomorrow morning, there'll be a meeting in Lexington because such things as what will be the legal entity? What organization will hold the money? Where will this be? And all those kinds of things getting closer and closer to finalizing, but some of those will be discussed in the morning. So those questions are not just ours. They're across the board, but there are others perhaps who are leaping a little faster than I am. But that's okay. That's all right with me. I've got to be comfortable before I move any further. So with that in mind,
Mayor, if I may?
yes, sir, please.
I just want to point out what we did is we moved $500,000 underneath our non-department budget.
Yes, sir.
Under grants to outside agencies. And in doing this, depending on how this vote goes, we have two versions of our budget. We have a version that includes it and a version that doesn't include it.
Yes.
So depending on this vote, we'll present that budget.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that clarification. All right. Any further discussion? I wanted to make sure you understood, where at this point, where I am. There being no further discussion, Order 24-75, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
No.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Mayor Bly.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. Thanks to all of you. We'll see where this goes in the next few days. Ordinance 24-09, an ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, changing the zoning classification for property located at Lantern Ridge Drive, Richmond Center, Parcel 1, within the city limits. This is a second reading, so we will vote on this ordinance tonight. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas Sonny Joseph, owner, has filed with the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission an application for a zoning map amendment at Lantern Ridge Drive, Richmond Center, Parcel 1, 15.8 acres, Richmond, Kentucky. And whereas the property is currently zoned B3 Highway Business and requesting a change to R3 Multifamily Residential. Whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission conducted a public hearing on the requested zone change on May 15, 2024, in the course of which it received evidence and testimony from persons in favor of and opposed to the requested zone change. And whereas at the conclusion of the public hearings, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend that the zone change be granted. And whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission, at its meetings, adopted written findings of fact as to the zones change, and the issue is now before the Board of Commissioners for final determination. And whereas the Board of Commissioners believes it to be in the public interest that it adopts the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission in accordance with the findings of fact adopted by that body. Now, therefore, be it ordained that the Board of Commissioners does hereby adopt the recommendation of the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission as to the requested zone change. The property in question, located in Richmond, Madison County, Kentucky, as to which the zone change shall apply, is Lantern Ridge Drive, Richmond Center, Parcel 1, 15.8 acres, Deed Book 768, page 206. The Board of Commissioners does hereby adopt the written findings of fact adopted by the Planning and Zoning Commission as its findings of fact. The findings of fact and the zoning of said property, Parcel 1 of Richmond Center, 15.8 acres, shall be and hereby is changed from B3 Highway Business and changed to R3 Multifamily Residential. The Director of Planning and Zoning shall make the appropriate changes to the official map of the City of Richmond, Kentucky. This ordinance shall be effective immediately upon enactment following second reading and publication in accordance with the requirements of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, sir. That's the reading of ordinance 24-09. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Goble,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I had just
Commissioner Cole?
some citizens reach out, and I just want to kind of state a couple things again to just kind of do away with some confusion, hopefully. But again, and city manager and city attorney, make sure that I'm saying this correctly, but it's my understanding that as we make this change, that we're not adding an easement into the other subdivision. We are taking it away instead, because there's been a lot of confusion around that. So am I accurate on that?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay. And the other thing that there's been some confusion around, again, make sure I state this appropriately or correct me, but we're not taking something that's farmland and converting it into a business or multi or residential housing, because this was already zoned years ago as part of another commission, part of another planning and zoning for highway business. So we are making the change from highway business to residential, but there's going to be traffic involved in either of those. Now, we could debate how much traffic, but there's going to be traffic involved in either a highway business or residential. So I just wanted to be clear on that as well, because there's been a lot of confusion around this particular item.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole. Any further discussion?
Can a citizen make a comment now?
No, sir.
That's what I understand.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I had one of the first.
With all due respect, Mr. Hay, that's the planning and zoning hearing matter. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
No.
Mayor Bly.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. The ayes have it. Ordinance 24-10. Ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, repealing Section 150.001 in its entirety. This is a second reading also. We will vote. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas in 2017, the city last amended Section 150.001 in an effort to control, deter, and abate the danger of fire spread downtown. However, after further review, it has been deemed ineffective and overburdensome by city officials, city codes enforcement, and state codes officials. Whereas now the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners believes that Section 150.001 has placed an undue burden on citizens and the Codes Department, and believes it to be in the public interest that the ordinance be repealed in its entirety. Now, therefore, be it ordained and enacted by the Richmond City Board of Commission that Section 150.001 of the Code of Ordinances of Richmond, Kentucky is repealed in its entirety. This ordinance shall be effective immediately upon enactment following second reading and publication in accordance with the requirements of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, sir. That's ordinance 24-10. And again, this is our second reading, so we will vote tonight. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor now for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole? Second. Commissioner Brewer, is there any discussion?
I just wanted to add, and it's probably common sense, but I just wanted to add make sure there's no confusion, that we will, of course, follow all the state procedures, policies that the state puts out there. It's just that we're not going to be more restrictive to our businesses that are downtown.
Correct understanding, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 24-11, an ordinance of the City of Richmond adopting the annual budget for the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2025, estimating revenues and resources, and appropriating funds for the operations of city government. This is a first reading. Mr. City Manager and Madam Finance Director, good evening, Sharon.
Good evening.
Mayor, I
Welcome.
think what I'd like to do is, I sent you all the budget message last night.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to point out that we had the request not to change the bottom line of the budget when we did have some additions, which we did accomplish. Instead of transferring $3 million to our capital projects fund, we just transferred $2.5 million. That allowed us to include some missing items, which were 2 items for the road department, a asphalt hot box, pickup truck, and then we hadn't included the Glendon Hotel feasibility study, phase 2. And then we also need to include the codes enforcement coordinator position. And we also came up with the additional 1% increase that gives employees a 5% increase total without changing the bottom line much. So I'll let Sharon read the ordinance, and then we can open the floor up for any questions.
All right. Sharon, thank you.
An ordinance of the City of Richmond adopting the annual budget for the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2025, estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operations of city government. Whereas a budget proposal has been prepared and delivered to the City Commission, and whereas the City Commission has reviewed the budget proposal and necessary modifications have been completed as recommended. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2024 and ending June the 30th, 2025 is hereby presented as follows. In our general fund, our estimated balance forward is $24 million. Our locally generated revenue is $40,391,700. Grants, both federal and state, $671,000, for total resources for appropriation of $65,062,700. Our appropriations is $51,822,499, with an expected ended balance at June the 30th, 2025 of $19,340,000. That's $13 million. This is small print. $13,240,201. In our contingency reserve fund, our balance forward is $23,220,047. We'll be making a $3 million transfer along with interest earned is our revenue for the year. And so our total resources for appropriation is $26,920,047. And we don't expect to have any appropriation, so our ending balance as of June the 30th, 2025 is $26,920,047. In our stormwater bond, our balance forward is $100,000. Our locally generated revenue is $337,200. For total resources for appropriation, $437,200. Our appropriations expenditures are $400,000, leaving an ending balance of $37,200. In the Irvin McDowell Fund, our balance forward is $275,000. Our revenue is $35,000. Our total resources for appropriation is $310,000. Expenditures $250,000 for an ending balance of $60,000. In the municipal aid program, which is our MAP monies, $150,000 is our balance forward. Our our state and federal funds revenue is $737,200. For total resources for appropriations, $887,200. Our appropriations are $835,000 for an ending balance of $52,000. In our federal funds, our balance forward is $65,000, and that is our total resources for appropriation. Our appropriations are $40,000, leaving us an ending balance of $25,000. In our capital projects fund, our balance forward is $5,500,000. Locally generated revenue, which is primarily transfers from the general fund, of $2,115,269. Our state and federal funds, $450,000, leaving us our total for appropriation of $8,065,269. Our expected expenditures is $3,686,338, leaving us an ending balance of $4,379,991. In our self-funded insurance, our balance forward is $600,000. Our locally generated revenue, which is premiums, is $2,841,598. And then our expenditures, $2,841,598, leaving us an ending balance of $600,000. In our workers' comp, our balance forward is $1,861,175. Our revenue, $700,000. Our expenditures, $500,000, and leaving us an ending balance of $2,061,175. In ARPA funds, our balance forward is $2,431,211. Our expenditures are $2,413,721, leaving us a balance of $17,490. In our police and fire retirement fund, which is our closed pension fund, our balance forward is $308,400. Revenue of $1,500. Leaving us a balance for appropriations is $309,900. We expect to expend $18,983, leaving us an ending balance of $290,917. In our CDBG fund, it's a community development fund, our balance forward is $109. We expect to receive $200,000 in grants and to expend that as well, which would leave us an ending balance of $109,000. In our LLEBG fund, we have a balance for it of $7,000. We expect to receive $470,000 in grant funds and expect to expend those, and which would leave us an ending balance then of $7,000. In our state funds, we have $593,000. We have $15,000 in our revenue, and then we expect to spend that of $350,000 for an ending balance of $258,000. In our Goggins Lane Park, we have a balance forward of $8,261,000. We expect to have $40,000 in our second bonding for Phase 2, and we expect to spend that $40 million, and leaving us an ending balance of $8,261,000. In our debt service fund, which is a new fund, and we've got, we'll be funding this from the general fund. $3,215,623 is our appropriations, and then we will spend that, leaving us an ending balance of $0. In our opioid fund, our balance forward is $477,785. We expect to receive approximately $300,000, leaving us a balance for appropriation of $777,785. And we have expected expenditures of $200,000, leaving us an ending balance of $577,785. In our TIF downtown, we have a balance forward of $200,000. We expect to put another $75,000 in for a total of reserve for appropriations of $275,000. We do not expect to make any expenditures out of there, so ending balance would be $275,000. Then I've included a summary for tourism. Their balance forward is $135,000. With their income, they have a balance for appropriation of $1,083,614. They expect to spend approximately $679,050, leaving them an ending balance of $404,564. The 2025 fiscal year budget is hereby approved as submitted. The amounts budgeted above are hereby appropriated to the amounts indicated for the 2025 fiscal year budget. The city clerk is hereby directed to publish a copy of the fiscal year 2025 budget ordinance in accordance with KRS 424.240, and the ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon second reading and adoption and publication by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. Yes, take a breath. We've heard the reading of ordinance 24-11, and maybe have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for, let's see, this is our first reading. Bring to the floor for discussion.
So moved.
Commissioner Goble.
Second.
Commissioner Cole. Any things, Mr. City Manager, first of all, you want to point out?
Couple things of interest. We do have 17 departments now. That doesn't include our quasi-departments of Richmond Utilities, RIDC, and Tourism. So we did add 15 positions to this budget. 3 of those, actually, I think 5 of those are in the police department. But we have separated building codes, planning and zoning, safety and risk management, and codes enforcement. So those are 4 departments now. The director's position for the planning and zoning department has been posted for 30 days. It closes on Friday, as well as a safety and risk management specialist position on Friday. With the passing of this budget at our next meeting, we'll have job descriptions for the codes enforcement coordinator, the building codes director, and the assistant manager position. So we'll have those, and once the budget passes, we'll post those in July and probably give those at least 30 days as well. We did see an increase in our health insurance, as we normally do, It was approximately $30 per employee. We chose to absorb that and pay that and not push it off on the employee. This budget does include a 5% increase, and I think with the cost of living today is very fair. We do have later in the meeting, a pay grade update. Instead of going back and trying to change every job description we have, we work to change all our pay grades to fit all of our pay grades. So those are some of the highlights. I think it's important to point out that we did increase the EMT certification for firefighters to $1,500. I think that's a very good incentive. And I truly believe the efforts we've made with public safety over the past 5 years has helped us to retain those folks, because I talked to a lot of other city managers, and they're having a tough time keeping firefighters and policemen. It's a very competitive market, so proud about that. I probably could go on and on, but that's all I can think of right now off the top of my head.
All right. Thank you, sir. And I wanted to ask you a question in just a moment. I want you to catch your breath first. But what you mentioned, Rob, about justifying, so to speak, the increase for employees. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but this morning there was a conversation about the cost of orange juice and how significantly it has increased. And that's just one item. And you think, well, you know, how many of our employees drink orange juice? How many of them have children that drink just orange juice alone, and how much it's increased? So I think we should feel very comfortable in what we want to do for the employees at this point. They're having to deal with what everybody else is dealing with.
Absolutely.
And we want them to be certainly. Sharon, just a quick question, and this is unfair. But just, first of all, how many years have you been now in your position?
12 and a half.
12 and a half?
Uh-huh.
Wow. I want to ask this, taking just the first column, general fund,
Yes.
off the top of the head, what kind of increase have you seen in that one column alone, for example, with total resources for appropriation, just off the top of the head?
From that time period?
From when you first
Oh,
came?
my goodness, I'm going to say about 20%, even from 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, because
Yeah.
when I first started, we had a budget around $30 million.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So,
And we're talking about 65 million here?
uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Is there any discussion, any further discussion? We are on the floor, aren't we, for the motion, with the motion? Okay. Any further discussion?
Mayor, I just had two more items I want to mention.
Yes, sir.
You know, for the first time since Sharon and I can remember, this actually puts us at almost 52% in our rainy day fund, and that's what auditors and bankers want to see for a municipal. That covers 6 months in case of a downturn in the economy. The other thing is that keeps us at the highest bond rating possible for a municipal our size. So we're very financially stable right now.
And that certainly helped us out when we were moving toward the park.
That's right.
Thank you, sir. All right, any further discussion? All right, there being none, ordinance 24-12, an ordinance of the City of Richmond amending the ARPA budget and the capital projects for the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2024, estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operations of city government. This is a first reading also. Mr. City Manager and Madam Finance Director.
Sharon?
Okay, yes, I'm just going to, I've presented this to show the progression on our ARPA budgets, and I'm just going to read the highlighted column, and we're adjusting the budget because we had a changeover in ARPA, so that's the reason for amending the ARPA budget. And then the reason that we're amending the capital projects budget is on our bond, for bond service that we started in October, so it was not in the original budget. So this is just to make sure that we've got that budgeted in for the year.
Thank you.
So I'll read if, okay. Whereas a budget proposal has been prepared and delivered to the City Commission, and whereas the City Commission has reviewed the amended budget proposal and necessary modifications have been completed as recommended, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the amended ARPA fund budget and Capital Projects Fund for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2023, and ending June the 30th, 2024, is hereby presented as follows. For the ARPA budget, our balance forward is $5,148,965. Our expenditures are $4,414,599, with our ending balance as of June the 30th, 2024, of $734,428. In our Capital Projects Fund, our balance, our revenue is $10,658,474. Our balance forward is $3 million. Our total revenue available for allocation is $13,658,474. Our appropriations are $8,162,131, with an expected ending balance of $5,486,543. The 2024 amended fiscal year ARPA and Capital Projects Fund balance budget is hereby approved as submitted. The amounts budgeted above are hereby appropriated to the accounts indicated for the 2024 fiscal year budget. The city clerk is hereby directed to publish a copy of the amended fiscal year 2024 ARPA budget and Capital Projects budget ordinance in accordance with KRS 424.240. The ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon second reading and adoption and publication by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Finance Director. You've heard the reading of ordinance 24-12. This, again, is a first reading. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion?
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer?
Second.
Commissioner Newby? Is there any discussion? All right, there being none, next meeting will be the second reading. Ordinance 24-13, an ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, amending ordinances number 14-18, 18-07, 21-07, and 22-13 to modify the city's existing grades and salary ranges chart. This again is a first reading. Mr. City Manager, please.
Whereas the Board of Commissioners for the City of Richmond, Kentucky established a personnel grades and classifications guide and a grades and salary ranges chart, thereby bringing the city into compliance with requirements of KRS 83A.070, to that the city enact a personnel and pay classification plan, and whereas the grade and salary ranges chart adopted by the ordinances 14-18, 18-7, 21-7, and 22-23 establish the pay range for the city's existing positions, and whereas by reason of cost of living adjustments and salary adjustments to the city employees which have taken place and which will in the future take place since the adoptions of the original grades and salary ranges chart, the previous chart should be amended so as to provide the higher maximum salaries with existing pay grades. And now therefore it be ordained that the grades and salary ranges chart adopted by ordinances 14-18, 18-7, 21-7, and 22-13B, and hereby is wholly repealed, and the grades and salary ranges chart attached to this ordinance and incorporated herein as though set forth in full be and hereby is adopted as the city's effective grades and salary ranges chart. I think Lisa tried to trip me up on that. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its enactment following second reading and publication in accordance with the requirements of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, sir. That's ordinance 24-13. This is again our first reading. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion?
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Goble. Is there any discussion?
If I may, Mayor?
Yes, sir, please.
If you look on page 158 of your packet, basically what we did is we took what was grade 3, moved it to grade 1, and then moved everything up in accordance with the Kentucky League of Cities salaries and wages scale. So with this pay grade scale adjustment, it covers all our job descriptions now.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? All right, there being none, this is a first reading. We'll vote in the next meeting. Order 24-71, order of the City of Richmond affirming the Section 8 budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the Section 8 budget was submitted to and duly reviewed by the Richmond Section 8 Board. Whereas the Board of Commissioners found the budget to be a clear and balanced document. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the attached 24-25 fiscal budget for the Section 8 Department is hereby approved as submitted by the Section 8 Board and adopted. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-71. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for approval and discussion?
So moved.
Commissioner
Second.
Brewer, Commissioner Goble. Discussion and approval. Any questions or concerns? This is to affirm. The board approved that earlier. All right, there being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Bly.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-72, order of the Board of Commissioners approving a change order for the Lake Reba pickleball venue project. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the city has started construction on the pickleball courts at Lake Reba Park, and whereas Bell Engineering has submitted change order number 2 for consideration and authorizing the mayor to sign agreement on behalf of the city. Whereas the city commission has reviewed the agreement and made a recommendation to move forward with the project. Now therefore be it ordered that the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners authorize the following change order for Lake Reba pickleball project between the City of Richmond and Blaze Enterprises. Task order number 2, add new gate to the courts, $5,650. Funding for the project, pickleball court APRA fund allocated in fiscal year 24 amended budget. The mayor is authorized to execute on behalf of the city. This order shall be effective immediately upon reading and adoption by the Board of Commissioners for the City of Richmond, Kentucky.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is order 24-72. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor? Discussion?
Just, can you
Commissioner Cole?
confirm our timeline again? There's a lot of folks interested in playing pickleball.
Let me be safe here. October, God willing, and the creek don't rise. I know I was going to get that. I could have said July 1st and would have got a boo. I think it'll be sooner than that, but it depends on weather.
His
They're moving right
hedging
along.
beds.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Bly.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-73, order of the City of Richmond, Kentucky approving an extended lease agreement for the Crab Street parking lot and authorizing the mayor to sign on behalf of the city. Mr. City Manager, please.
Whereas the city's lease agreement with Eastern Kentucky University of the Crab Street parking lot has expired yearly and both the city and EKU wish to enter into an extended one-year lease of the premises. Now therefore be ordered that the lease agreement from the city to EKU of the city's Crab Street parking lot is approved, and the mayor is hereby authorized to execute same on behalf of the city and with his signature to bind the city to the terms thereof.
Heard the reading of Order 24-73. Thank you, sir. I may have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Goble,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Is there any discussion?
I just want to point out that all
Yes, sir.
revenue from that parking lot goes into the Irvin McDowell Park Fund. It actually is supposed to go back into the Irvington House only. So there's a fund set aside for that.
Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. All right, ayes have it, and so ordered. Order 24-74, an order of the City of Richmond acknowledging an increase in the retirement benefits of the police and firefighters not covered by the county employees' retirement system. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the City of Richmond created a retirement and benefit fund for members of the police and fire department through Ordinance 8726. Whereas the Richmond City Commission passed Ordinance 9030, which created participation in the CERS system for city employees. And whereas there exists one pensioner and widow whose retirement benefits are governed by the terms of Ordinance 8726. Whereas it is the intent of the Richmond City Commissioners to adjust the retirement benefits of one pensioner as per Section 1, Number 4 of Ordinance 9030, which provides for adjustment of the pension benefits. Now therefore be it ordered by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners that each participant governed under Ordinance 8726 will be entitled to a pension increase of 5% per year for the fiscal year 24-25. This increase will be funded by revenue previously received from property taxes set aside for the police and fire pension fund and by additional funds transferred from the general fund if needed. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's Order 24-74. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Goble. Is there any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-76, an order of the City of Richmond declaring property surplus and providing for the disposition. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas pursuant to Ordinance Chapter 34-02, deposition of surplus city personal property, declares a list of property which shall be submitted monthly to the city manager and submitted to the mayor and city commission for classification as surplus property. And now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the property described by the list attached hereto is declared surplus and no longer needed by the city and is not suitable for the purpose for which it was intended. Such items on the list are from the IT department and include phones. It is hereby authorized that this property be disposed by gov.deals. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's Order 24-76. May we have a motion, please? Bring the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Order 24-76. Is there any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. We tabled Order 24-33. May I have a motion, please, that we'll bring it from the table to consider at this time?
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Goble. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yeah.
Commissioner Cole.
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-33 then itself, included in our packet, an order of the City of Richmond adjusting an employee's status within the Finance Department. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas the Finance Department is in need of an additional senior clerk due to the high volume of work, and whereas there is an employee within the department who is currently has applied for the position which meets all requirements and has requested to be reclassified in that position, and whereas the Finance Department has budgeted for this adjustment, now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the following employee in the Finance Department hereby has changed their employment status from finance clerk to finance senior clerk effective March 18th, 2024 at a pay rate of $46,259.20 annually, pay grade 5. Paula Charnel Hurt, employee since August 29, 2012, as a part-time switchboard operator, then promoted to full-time finance clerk July 23, 2014. This order shall be effective upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. That's order 24-33. May we have a motion, please, to bring now this order to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Goble, is there any discussion?
Sharon, is this the woman that you suggested back to get a pay increase? And that's the one we brought back up from the table? I just want to make sure.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience tonight who wishes to make public comments at this time?
That doesn't work for the city.
You're lucky Charles didn't hang around.
Yes. Wasn't sure where he was going, so I. Comment, David, comment. No. All right, let's move on then. Mr. City Manager?
I just have two items from our monthly Millstone Festival meeting. We currently have 115 vendors already registered and 24 food vendors. And we also have some sponsorships left as available as well. The deadline is July 26th, and we can only do 146 vendors, so space is running out. I encourage people to apply if they want to participate. I did find out today from EKU that their home game scheduled for October 5th has been moved to another date, so there won't be a home football game that weekend. I think we're still good. The only other thing I had was the good old traffic signal at Duckhorn and Great House.
Yay.
We're waiting for a light pole to be moved out of a turn lane off Duckhorn. And as soon as it gets moved on, they'll turn the lights on and let them flash for a week, and then we'll be off and running, so.
She'll be out there
Soon.
standing, don't you
Coming
think?
soon, before 4th
Yes.
of July, hopefully.
Yes.
She'll have flags
soon.
and jump up and down.
That's all I have, Mayor.
In all seriousness, someone told me the other day, said, you know, the lights are not working out there. I thought, I've heard it. Yeah, seriously. It takes, my mama said it takes all kinds to make a world. Commissioner Goble?
I'm good.
All right. Commissioner Newby?
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Brewer?
Just going to the Millstone Festival, the car show part, we've had over, I think there's close to 300 people that have shown an interest in bringing their car from Ohio, West Virginia, so that car show's taken off. It's gonna be I don't know if we're gonna have enough room.
Wow.
So you know, I reached out to Randy Neely and Superintendent Gillum about using Madison Central's parking lot and running a shuttle back and forth during the festival, and they were fine with that. But there was some parking complaints last year, so having that parking lot available and running a shuttle back and forth, we'll run the trolley back and forth, will help with that.
That's all I have.
Sorry to interrupt you, Commissioner.
No, that's all
Brewer.
right. I was gonna bring
Adding to
that
your
up about
conversation, yeah.
About the parking.
Yeah. Was there any thought given also to Madison Middle's lower parking lot?
Oh, that's a great idea.
And we
That's
could
right
use
there.
that if,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's closer, yeah.
Yeah, but it's, I mean,
Sure.
I may need both.
Yep, I'll
I'm
ask.
sure he would. And let me say this to fellow board members. I think it was 2 years ago at the festival, I discussed with someone downtown, and I think perhaps maybe some of you, but that car show, the car show aspect of that festival is such a popular thing. And I could see that becoming a festival all its own. Just something to think about.
So you know,
Hey, yeah.
we have an application that came in and has been approved for August 2nd, I think it is. It's a Saturday for a truck show on First Street. I think trucks 1987 and older.
it's the square body trucks. is what
Okay,
it's
so that's
older
August
model.
3rd, a Saturday on
Over
First Street.
here?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
And that sort of came about because they weren't in the car show, so they wanted to kind of do their own, so
Yes, indeed.
I think there's about 35 so far, so.
Outstanding. There's a festival of brewing. Let's see. Where did I stop? Tammy? Okay.
I just wanted to, we talked about it a little bit tonight, but just to let folks know that the city of Richmond is definitely hiring. We talked about some new positions that we have and some that are already posted and some that will be posted. So I just really encourage qualified applicants to get on the City of Richmond website and check out the job postings that we have available.
Thank you,
That's all.
thank you, thank you. Just want to mention that we have time to get to Tasty Tuesdays. And that seems to have gone well each Tuesday. That I think the very first one was rained out.
Yes.
But after that, it's really been going well, so something for folks to look forward to. We need to go into executive session, is that correct? May we have a motion, please, that we will go into executive session according to KRS 61.810, sub 1, sub C, regarding pending litigation.
So moved.
Commissioner Goble,
Second.
Commissioner Cole. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby.
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you.
got grandkids waiting on me.
Spencer, you notice we're smiling.
So, good.
All right.
Here's the joy in everyone's voice. Come on now.
Yeah.
So can't be doing that, right? May we have a motion, please, to return from executive session to regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Newby. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Mayor Blind?
Yes. All hearts and minds clear? All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second?
Commissioner Goble. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Blind?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And